Chapter 5 of Das Kapital is about the contradictions in the formula of capital. In Chapter 4, Marx described to us extensively the MC-M bar or MC-M prime circulation. I think I said M bar in the last video. Actually, after extensively researching this on Google, I still don't really know if I should say M bar or M prime. So please, if someone knows, help me out in the comment section. Alright, moving on. To recap from Chapter 4, M prime is the original M plus surplus value. Marx now asks the question, where is this surplus even coming from? This is not an easy question to answer because there has to be an equivalence in the M to C circulation and in the C to M circulation, right? If there wasn't, then you wouldn't make those exchanges because you would feel like you're being cheated. And you'd be right, surplus value can hence not be derived merely from that exchange. Where equity exists, there is no gain. If commodities are exchanged, it is plain that no one abstracts more value from than he throws into circulation. There is no creation of surplus value. Now the surplus value appears only in our MC-M prime circulation and not in our CMC circulation. So maybe it's the case that the order of those exchanges causes the surplus value to appear. Well, this inversion from CMC to MCM really only exists for the capitalist. As a capitalist, I buy a commodity from the seller and sell it to the buyer. But for the buyer and the seller, it's really all the same. What they see is merely a simple M to C or C to M circulation, just like they would in the CMC process. They don't really give a flip if all this is happening in a CMC, MCM or AC/DC circulation. They just care about their exchanges, which is the same in all these forms. So if we can't find the answer here, maybe we should question the assumption that all our exchanges are equivalent. Maybe we're really exchanging two inequivalents. Unequivalents? I may, for example, sell you my awesome picture frame for 110 euros. But let's be honest, it's really only worth 100 euros. Now I have a gain of 10 euros on my hands. However, this gain exists only because you lost 10 euros, so effectively there's really no net gain here. Marx says that therefore exchanging two inequivalents doesn't create surplus value either. If someone sells above value and gets away with it, then this was really just a redistribution of value that already existed before. Now Marx, of course, doesn't want to write a chapter without going after the classical school real quick. Torrens, a classical economist, explains surplus value by saying that consumers effectively give a greater portion of the money that the production of the product that they're buying really cost. In other words, the owner of a commodity possesses as a seller the privilege to sell too dear. Now this, according to Marx, is untrue because it would mean that the consumer is overpaying. You know, which happens every now and then, but it doesn't create surplus. Marx, visibly annoyed by the apparent stupidity he's seeing, therefore concludes that this irrelevant matter does not carry us a single step further. In the interest of staying true to the material, I don't actually know if he was visibly annoyed, but you know, that's kind of the vibe I was getting while reading it. So as we said in Chapter 4, my goal in the CMC circulation is the use value of whatever I'm getting out of the exchange. This therefore makes sense even if the exchange value is equal. My goal in the MC-M prime circulation, however, is getting more money out than I put in. So in order for that to make sense, the exchange value has to be unequal somewhere. Our MC-M prime circulation can therefore only exist if my second M is greater than my first. The merchant must therefore buy for less and sell for more, which is essentially cheating. Marx quotes Benjamin Franklin here, who said war is robbery and commerce is generally cheating. However, we're still nowhere close to answering where the surplus value comes from. We now know who gets to have the surplus value: capitalist. But we don't know where it comes from. Marx ends this chapter on a huge cliffhanger by not telling us and holding back the big reveal for Chapter 6.